So each year there are perhaps normally 2 semesters, and each semester includes 3 courses. These 3 courses vary from being 2 smaller courses to 1 large course, and they're always taught normally at the same time. So in the third year for the interior design, you would have normally each semester you'd have the large kind of design studio course. This means you have the means to kind of basically work through your own process, your own project. We give you normally in the third year 2 or 3 kind of exciting briefs that are based upon normally quite contemporary kind of global challenges, and so it means that you have to rethink and understand, really, I suppose, major kind of global challenges and issues that the world kind of faces, and kind of figure out maybe what can design do to help to improve that. And so you have the space to kind of basically to work in your own style, to use the skills that you may have from before, or to learn new skills. And you can work kind of normally in peer groups or on your own. You also have at the same time 2 other courses, and these other courses normally support your learning with more, I think, either kind of knowledge or theoretical type courses or more practical courses. So example of this would be that you have the example of a course in digital technologies and skills, where you learn more about using software and hardware to support your design process, and also another course which is called Global Collaborative Design, where you'd work kind of globally with students to do interior design in Dubai and work to exchange ideas and files and kind of just collaborate, I suppose, globally, which is really important nowadays. So every kind of year you'd have the same kind of format, where you have a large project and then 2 that go alongside it. The third year is really about trying to, I suppose, refine your design process, which means that we're trying to figure out kind of what do you normally kind of do as a designer. How do you normally start a project? How do you manage it, and how do you kind of see it through to the very, very end? At the same time, it's about trying to also develop your skills in critical thinking and in research as well. So it's not just about kind of doing the same old stuff that you always do, but trying to be kind of more aware of different ways of doing things, and why you might need to kind of vary what you do to match or to kind of to address certain issues as well. The 4th year is more open, and the 4th year is normally about trying to give students the means to work on their own through a project to kind of demonstrate autonomy and initiative in what they do. And this would mean that you would normally design your own project from start to end. So in the first semester, you'd be asked to kind of consider what do you really kind of care most about as a designer, and to kind of find a building or a location in the world, and also consider what issues are present or maybe could affect that location or site, and then to design normally to adapt and to reuse a location into a new purpose that would help to resolve the issue you've encountered or researched or understood or analysed. Then at the same time you would have other courses such as an essay and or a marketing report, and possibly also a more collaborative course looking at how you reflect about your own practice as well. So industry experience is very important, I think, in education right now, primarily because every undergraduate kind of program is a means to get a new job and to kind of to better improve your chances in life. And so for us in interior design, we often put in place live projects where you work with a live client on a certain kind of brief or a certain kind of end target. And so it might mean, for example, the most recent one we did was we had the 3rd-year students working on with a client for a cafe in Edinburgh to redesign that into a kind of carbon neutral, kind of eco-friendly kind of coffee shop almost. And that's one example of how we connect you with stakeholders and clients. Prior to that, you'd also have, in the past, we've worked with a number of big global companies and also quite small local companies as well. And each are very, very important in terms of how we work, what we do, and what you learn. And so that gives you an idea, I suppose, of one approach. We also have teaching staff that work in industry, or part-time staff, or guest speakers coming often, and they have ties with industry. And so right now we're working on a project which is looking into opportunities where some of our students might get a placement at the end of their 4th year, or even within their kind of present kind of studies in the 1st or 2nd semester. So we're always trying to kind of work more with industry and trying to also connect you with kind of people outside of university as well. So we do live projects, we do internships, we do guest speakers. We would also, I think, have a network of graduates that also like to work with current students as well. In terms of career opportunities, as a graduate of interior design, you're going to find there's many different kind of possible careers you can go into, and that's because interior design is a very, very broad subject. It covers art, design, science, architecture, and so on. And so for that reason, you find students often go into different fields. It's not the case of going just into interior design. You can go into architecture, you can go into research, you can go into urban planning, you can go into do a master's, you can go on to be an interior stylist or so on. And we encourage that because it's important to have, I think, versatile skills that you can apply to different kind of circumstances. So this means that we have many kind of adaptable kind of graduates that have many transferable skills that often go into different kind of types of design kind of led or related jobs at the end. So in the past, I think our students right now are leaving very soon, and they'll be kind of going on to jobs. But in the past year, students have gone on to work for IKEA and for design companies in Edinburgh and also in London as well. And the university has a very good careers office, which can help you to kind of write CVs. And we've also designed or redesigned, our fourth year to be the bridge between being a student and being a graduate and being employed. And so we do support our students in this kind of process, in this journey. And we designed the curriculum in the fourth year to focus on what professional skills do you need to kind of succeed as a graduate in interior design. The best thing about being a student at Heriot-Watt, I believe, would be probably the two things: the campus and the community. The campus itself is quite small in the UK. It's in the borders of Scotland, and it's a really focused kind of environment where you can learn from people around you that are all designers or all kind of very creative thinkers and artists, I suppose, in a sense. And that means that you can benefit from being part of a smaller community where everyone knows kind of who you are and what you do, and it means you can work more and in a way which is more friendly, more nicer, I suppose, rather than being perhaps a student in a large university where there's many other students. You might feel a bit lost sometimes. And so one of the benefits of being in the borders is that we kind of have a really unique campus which supports, I think, a lot of great students in terms of meeting their kind of aims and targets in being a student. Also, you have a community of people that are very passionate about design, not just staff, but the students are also, I think, really dedicated. And I'm always amazed by how hard the students work. They're often in the many hours working really hard on their projects, which you don't really find much in other universities or other disciplines. The staff themselves form a big part of the community, and the staff likewise really want to see the students kind of succeed and do well, and the staff are around all the time. And so I kind of think that if you go to any other institution, any other university, you don't get the same level of exposure to the staff. You can't meet the staff whenever you want. You can't kind of ask them questions at kind of odd hours of the day and get a response. But for us, you normally can, because we have a smaller community of students and of staff, and we kind of value that kind of interaction between staff and students. And so I'd say that's really important, I think, in design, because a lot of what you learn is via feedback and via dialogue. And so that kind of means to kind of communicate and to kind of exchange ideas is really important. The last thing I'd say probably is the university itself is very global, and that to me is really important, because I think I've worked kind of globally as a designer and as a teacher for a number of years in Southeast Asia, Europe, UK, and I think coming back to the UK, I realised how important that kind of global experience really is, and how design differs a lot kind of globally as well. And so the university puts a big kind of priority upon global experience, and so it means that you might learn with Dubai students, you might question what does interior design actually really mean kind of globally. And if you can do that, it means you're prepared for anything, I think, really, because you can work globally. And that's kind of where I think the some of the big kind of careers really lie in a kind of global kind of format, I suppose, rather than just being too local sometimes. And so I think it's really important that that we keep doing that. And I think the university is kind of entirely correct to kind of be doing this. I think that's one of the best parts of being at Heriot-Watt is that global kind of community, I suppose.